Welcome, everybody. Glad we're back in person. It's been a long time, so it's a lot more fun when you can see faces than Zooms. Hopefully, our world is changing back the way we want to. Spring games are unique in what you try to get accomplished. We had individual goals today. We'll see if we got all those accomplished on Monday, but I thought the guys played hard. We ended up playing 80 plays. That's not counting the extra points. We also were in a position where there were very few penalties, which is one of the emphasis we had. There were very few sacks. I think Des Evans had 2 in a row, and then if I remember right, Sebastian Cheeks had 1 tackle for a loss on a quarterback draw. But I thought our offensive line came off well, and we got the edge some. The defense in a spring game is at a huge disadvantage. We had 3 calls on defense today, and normally we'd have a lot. So they're at a true disadvantage, but also it gives us a great opportunity to see who can get off blocks without scheming. And that'll be great video for us to watch. Thought all 3 quarterbacks with the early teams did really well. Connor Harrell's got a quick arm, and he's very accurate. He can run. And we know that Drake and Jacoby are both really good, and you can see that they're a whole lot alike. So we will not separate them till fall, and then we may need both of them, and we'll just continue to work with that because they're both inexperienced. But by and large, I thought that it's exactly what we wanted. I didn't see anybody get hurt. I thought they played hard. I thought they were organized. I felt good about just the structure of the game, and at the same time, there's no game plans on either side. So everybody says, well, you should have thrown it more, should have run it more. You don't do game plans in the spring. That's just not part of it. So questions?
You said Thursday about how you were holding British out because you were looking at the other rest of the running backs. I know guys aren't going to make that much of a move in the spring game, but who in that group maybe made a lot of progress from the beginning of spring practice through today?
I think we know that British is good. We know that DJ Jones is good. And DJ's just got to stay healthy. And he's been healthy all spring. And he did some good things today. We've been impressed with both Elijah Green and George Pettaway this spring. George has made a huge run in every scrimmage. Today's the first time he really didn't have a breakaway. But you could see there are a few where his quickness, he jumped outside, or he has really good patience, and he made a look back inside. We've got to make sure that he protects the ball. A lot of times high school players aren't as good at ball security, and I'm not sure that was a fumble on our offensive boundary at the end of the game, but it was close enough that you don't want people asking. Caleb Hood's been hurt throughout spring on and off. Kamaro Edmonds has been hurt. He even banged his shoulder a little bit today. So, but right now you'd have to look at British, DJ, Elijah Green, and George Pettaway with Omari and Hampton coming in. And those guys all have a chance to play.
Regarding Pettaway, the physicality, do you see the balance and the cuts along with the physicality that in the matter of time when he has more of this experience in practice against these guys that you'll see that next level kind of take off?
Yeah, he's a lot stronger than he looks because he's so quick and people think he's slight. He's got really strong lower body. And he's run over some people this spring. The biggest problem with guys that are coming in as freshmen are pass protection. And he's really improving in that area, but the problem is you can't play them in pass protection you can't play them in the game until they learn how to pass protect, because you never know when you're going to have a check or something. So that's what limits them. And I wish we'd had Omari in here this spring, but we didn't. So he'll be here in June, and we'll work hard to get both those guys ready to play next fall.
The other day you mentioned you were tackling more, in the practice than you had in a while. Were you pleased just with the way, in terms of just getting guys down the first hit?
Yeah, CL, people always talk about toughness with a football team. This group's tackled every day, and they've tackled every day and stayed healthy. And I don't think I've done this much tackling in my whole career. I know it's been since early. And we were limited in some areas, but guys would get banged up and come right back and play. So this team is developing a mental toughness that we really, really need for a young team. And I liked them hitting. It was so competitive, and I liked today. Today was just a game. And you can't hit your quarterbacks. because they're so hard to get. When you get them, you got to keep them healthy. But we've had some guys bump into them this spring and knock them down and push them down, and because they need to learn how to carry the ball too. Your quarterback's usually your worst ball carrier because he never gets hit. But I really like what I've seen out of this bunch. They haven't dodged anything. We've been hard on them, we've been tough on them, we've been demanding, and they've responded to everything we've done.
Who won the score all the downs again? I believe you did. Who won the scoring of the downs? And how do you feel about how that impacted the opportunity and the way the game was played?
I've got to go back and relook at it because I thought it was very unfair to the defense today that they run 3 defenses and they're not going to win with a vanilla defense. So, and then your blue offense stays on the field a lot more than your white defense. I mean, your white offense. So I didn't think it was fair today. So I'll have to regroup and look at that. They were all asking. So I've got pressure on me to figure that out this weekend.
But how did you feel maybe the way you changed practices this spring with that emphasis on the competition, winning every game? How did you feel like maybe impacted their performance you saw today?
I thought it was really good, and we've done it at times throughout my career. I thought this spring was the most competitive practices we've had, and I really liked it. We're going to continue to look at what we can do to expand in that area.
Mack, with the quarterback competition being explosive as this, are there a handful of things we're looking toward this offseason to see how they can separate themselves?
Yes, Greg, it's a great question, and they're a lot alike. I mean, if you look at them every day and people say, they're just saying that to keep them both here, we're not. I mean, they're a lot alike. Both of them have quick arms. Both of them can throw the ball deep. They're both accurate. They both can run. So Jacoby's got more experience because people forget he's been here 2 years now and had a lot more reps. But the biggest thing is who's going to throw to the right guy, who's going to be the most accurate the most of the time. And the other thing is who's getting the ball out of their hands. We've had too many sacks. We didn't have any today. Get the ball out of your hand. And we've worked so hard on that. You watch the great quarterbacks in the NFL, they get the ball out of their hands. And it's gone. So you don't have tackles for loss. Sacks ruin drives. And we've had so many of them to ruin drives. As good as we've been on offense, we've been able to overcome it. I don't want to be that team. I want us to go back and be a lot more consistent. And I'm seeing that with both quarterbacks. So, and we could go back, Greg, and play both of them. We could put one in the game. If he does well, leave him in. If he struggles, put the other one in. And usually somebody has a hot hand during the game. So we've got a lot of thinking to do. We'll go back and look at it hard in the fall. But we're just so fortunate to have 2 really good ones and another young one that I thought looked good. I mean, we see that in the spring. On the normal practices, we see Connor do that every day. The other day in the stadium, he had a couple of real bonehead plays that looked like they were high school senior plays. And today he didn't. I thought he did really well, so I'm proud of him as well.
With respect to the quarterbacks, with Sam gone, how have you seen Jacoby and Drake change, kind of how they comport themselves, how they communicate with teammates, even stuff like when they're eating, how they are, and how they
Yeah.
do themselves there?
Andrew, it's another good point. We've talked so much about leadership and who are the alpha dogs and who's going to step up and when do they step up. You can see some of that today, but it's probably going to be in the fall. It's probably going to be during a game where we're in trouble, where we see somebody take over. But both of them are more aggressive with their leadership. Both of them are more confident. I mean, both of them know they're going to play. And always before, it was Sam was going to play, and Sam never got hurt. And we weren't beating people badly enough to put them in. So it's kind of hard to continue to work like you're going to play. Right now, they're working really, really hard. You could see Drake didn't make the 4th and 5 to start the game. Jacoby comes in, throws a touchdown. Drake goes right in, throws a deep touchdown. I mean, they're watching each other very closely. So they understand that they're in a battle and they can't make many mistakes.
Mack, along those lines, is a committee approach at quarterback something you're talking about, Phil, with? Is that something that's becoming more of a possibility, or?
Yeah, we haven't at all because we're trying to separate the best we can. But in my experience, I've done it and it's worked. So we'll wait and see. You know, it's funny, we worry about all this stuff and then somebody has a sprained ankle, somebody pulls a hamstring. Jacoby pulled a slight pull of a hamstring 10 days ago, and I thought, well, there's a chance for Drake to step up. Jacoby didn't miss practice. He came back the next day and taped it up and said, I am not missing practice. So they're in a real heated competition, but they like each other. And the other thing that's a real positive, they're a lot alike. So they can run the same plays. And if you're an offensive coordinator or an offense that has to run two different sets of plays when the quarterbacks are in there, it's much more difficult than these two run the same offense exactly, and you can just plug one in.
How much confidence do you think Josh Downs gives those young quarterbacks just having him out there?
He gives them all kinds of confidence because he's going to outrun most people, and he gets wide open a lot, and he can catch, and he competes. We wanted to get him a couple of balls today and get him out, and that's what happened. We took British out after 13 plays, I think. We took DJ out after a little bit more of that, let those young backs play, and then same with Josh. We're still really thin at wide receiver. We'd love to have somebody in the portal if it pops up. If it doesn't, we've got two guys coming in with Andre Green and Doc Chapman. Andre Green was here today, and I nearly put him in. I asked Bubba and I asked compliance, and they wouldn't let us. So I said, just get out of my sight. You look too pretty. We're ready to put you out there.
You said Thursday, you talked about Coach Bignell, the kind of teacher that he is. How have you seen that group change, especially in how they go about pass protection?
Yeah, we're coming off the ball better, in my opinion, Andrew, and because of that, your pass protection's easier because you do a lot of play action stuff. And we've also, it's not a knock on Stacy at all, but we're also chipping more with the tight ends and chipping more with the backs, and we start now with pass protection. And we're going to make sure our quarterbacks are in good shape. And Wisdom Asabura hasn't played a lot of football, and I think he was the reason for the 2 sacks. And I'm happy that Des Evans got the sacks, but Wisdom's got to keep coming and keep learning because he'd never played football till his senior year in high school, and he played defense then. So he's 6'8", 355, I think. So we're trying hard to teach him how to play, but that was the 2 sacks today. And the other one was on the quarterback draw. The one thing, though, that I would like to see, I'm going to go back and study every situation. What was our average on first down, offense and defense? I'm going to go down and see. I didn't like the 4th and 4 that they didn't make the first down. So we're not game planning, but I want to see why. We need to make 4th and 4s if we're going to score a lot of points. And the other thing we just can't do right now is we're still not forcing enough turnovers. We have got to force turnovers, and that's really important as well. Noah Taylor didn't play a whole lot. He's best friends with Dwayne Hawkins, and when he lost his life today, it really got Noah. And I asked him if he didn't want to play, and then he had a little pull in his back. But he was just overwhelmed this morning, and he said he did want to play. But thoughts and prayers go out to Dwayne's family and especially Noah, when you lose a good friend like that at that age.
Yeah, we got time for one more, Coach.
Coach, feeding off that a little bit, you've got your brand new offensive line coach, and I don't recall, any holding penalties today. I was just wondering, what it means to kind of have that type of discipline, this early in the year, and just on what kind of impact he's made on that group so far.
Well, Tom Luganville with ACC Network said, I don't think I've ever seen this few penalties in a spring game. And I'm really, really pleased with that. We have ACC officials at every practice, and we've always acknowledged it, but now we're fixing it better. And I really, really like it. The guys are taking great pride. You take Awesome Richards and Ed Montelis have had an outstanding spring. They have been so good. I'm so pleased with them. Corey Gaynor's been a real good addition in leadership and strength, and it also helps us with Brian Anderson and Q Johnson being in there. William Barnes is getting better every day. He's just got to be a little more consistent, but he has really improved. And then we're trying to get Zach Rice where he needs to be, because it's hard for a freshman to come start in the offensive line, and he has really fought it this spring. He just laughs and says they're a lot bigger and a lot faster than what I'm used to blocking. But he's going to be a really good player in time. And then you've got Caden Baker's coming on, and he had some hurt knees early in spring, but he's really come through and doing a lot of good things. I'm sure Travion Green felt really bad for him downfield. He probably never got called before, but if you're 6'8", 335, you're going to be noticed if you're downfield. So, but he's played guard and tackle, and he's going to be a really good player. So a whole lot of these guys are getting better and better, and I'm really enjoying watching them.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Be safe, and we'll see you soon.